verse of the day, and it's a good one. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, "Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity." Now, one of the reasons I love this verse so much is that when I first started ministry, I'm a pastor now, but before I was a pastor, I was a kid. I was 16 years old. I had never volunteered in ministry before. And the wife of the pastor that I was serving under, her name was Margaret Todd, she gave me an opportunity to try to teach kids. Now, she knew that I knew what I was talking about. She knew my testimony. She knew that I wasn't going to be just sharing heretical nonsense. But at the same time, she knew I had never taught kids before. And yet, she gave me an opportunity to teach. Now, full disclosure, I was bad. I was not good at what I was doing. But of course, I wasn't going to be good at what I was doing because it was the very first time I did it. How many of us have ever just blown something out of the park the very first time that we tried something? For being honest, more often than not, we fail, and we fail a lot. But one of the most important things about ministry is to not let somebody despise you for your youth. You see, the older church, if you've been in the church for years and years and years, and you find yourself now being in your 60s, 70s, 80s, you are going to leave behind a church for the next generation. And that next generation is not going to be pastored by somebody who's 50, 60, 70. They're going to be pastored by somebody who's 40, 30, 20. And it's important to see the young people of the church and to equip them with the tools necessary to be able to shepherd their generation. How does that happen? First of all, you give young people opportunities to serve. Secondly, you make sure they prioritize having an example of speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity. Now, notice in that list, it doesn't say skill. Notice in that list, it doesn't say, but set the believers an example of this amazing preaching talent. No, it sets the example of a lifestyle. It sets the example of Christian character. The most important thing for somebody in the ministry to learn is to practice what you preach, to walk in a way that is glorifying to Jesus Christ. And the good news is, when you start in ministry, you're going to have a lot of room to grow. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to get better. And maybe, like me, your very first lessons are not going to be worth talking about. Maybe they're not going to be some sort of amazing insight that you shared. But do you know what serving in the children's ministry when I was only 16 years old taught me? It taught me humility. It taught me that even if I don't know everything that I'm supposed to know yet, even though I don't know the best way to deliver a sermon yet, I can rely on the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit has been working through me since I started preaching at 18 years old, and I'm 35 years old now, and it's still working. God uses broken vessels to accomplish great things. So, to my young men, to my young women who want to serve the Lord in some capacity, let no one despise you for your youth. It's okay that you don't know everything. It's okay that you're going to be a little bit bad at the very start. But instead of trying to be perfect, set an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. When you focus on getting the character of Christ right, He will give you what's necessary to accomplish the goal of ministry. God bless, friends.